What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. Today we will be talking about the BittBoy, all your NES games on a handheld. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so before we talk about the review, let's talk about the box and what it comes with. First off, you got the box with your BittBoy logo, the actual look of the BittBoy, and then your functionality of the buttons and whatnot you have there. So it comes with a charger cord, a USB, most Androids use this, and then it has the audio video cable, and you'll see that put to work later. And then finally, we have the BittBoy. So I really like this console, and I have a little hesitation about it, but then there's also a lot of cool things that I like about it first off. So one glaring issue with the BittBoy is the sound is not crisp. Whenever you start using the AV cord, you get this loud humming, and every one of these videos that I captured gameplay with shows the humming, and I couldn't get it out in post-production, so I just left it there so you could see that it is persistent throughout the whole gameplay. So the BittBoy has a wide array of video games on it. It has 301 on the system, and I decided to display a few of the funnier games. This first one, Pocket Monsters, is an absolutely terrible ROM hack. I played through it a little bit and it was very disappointing. So this next one is Angry Birds, and how this came out on the NES is beyond me, since this game originally came out in the 2000s. However, once upon playing the game, I realized that the backgrounds and the textures are just awful and it's nauseating to play. So as you can tell, the theme for the menu system is from Mighty Final Fight. So once I realized that Mighty Final Fight is indeed on this, I had to not only play it, but also include it in this. This is a great game. If you haven't played Mighty Final Fight, this is a redeeming quality to the BittBoy because it is one of my favorite games on the NES. This next game is another game that's on this list that I think is absolutely ridiculous. The title, Small Dinosaur, is in fact true. This is a small dinosaur. However, the gameplay is not fun. Do not play this if you have a BittBoy. Okay, so this final game is aptly called Pikachu, is also another ROM hack of a game that isn't very good. And I've been showing a lot of games on here that aren't very good, but there are a bunch of ROMs on here that are good games. Bomberman, you got Ice Climber, you got Galaga, you have Mighty Bomb Jack, you have Super Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros 3. The list goes on and on of good games. So I figured I would show you some of the games that were lackluster at best. Okay, so I have the BittBoy here. It has the on and off switch, your volume toggle, the D-pad, your A and B button, your turbo buttons, your reset, and your select and start buttons. And it also has your audio out and your audio to headphones and your charging port. It also has what appears to be a little slot for an SD card. However, that does not do anything, so do not put an SD card or it'll just rattle around in there. So let's get to the buttons. The D-pad. The D-pad I don't like. So it's a hard D-pad, but the buttons are kind of squishy when you press it, and so I kind of feel like you could go left and hit the up button, or go left and hit the down, or right and hit the up or down. I kind of don't like that about it. It's a little too squishy for me, but to each its own. You have the A and B button here, which I like. The size of them is good, but I don't like that they feel a little cheap, I guess. But then you also have the turbo buttons above it. They feel the same way. And then you have your start and select. And now, when you're holding it, it's a little small in your hands, so when you're trying to reach your thumb to the B button, it's easy, but the A button, it gets a little hard when you're trying to like back your thumb off. It could make it a little bit harder. I think I'd rather it be switched, so you have your turbo buttons down lower, and then your A and B up higher, just for comfort, because as you can see, when you put your hand there, it kind of flushes here, but it's kind of harder here because you're having to reach down and hit that bottom A button. So I prefer them kind of be switched, but that's just because I have bigger hands. And I really like the reset button because when you're playing it, you can go back to the main screen and switch to your buttons. You can go back to the main screen. I can just cut out the reset button. So your start and select buttons down here, they're pretty normal, nothing to complain about. They feel a little plasticky, but that's nothing I can worry about. And then you have the reset button, which takes you back to the home screen. So overall, I like the console. The concept is cool. However, I think the buttons could have been done a little bit better, but that doesn't take too much away from the gameplay, and with 300 games, you can't go wrong with it. Overall, I found the BittBoy to be very fun to play. However, the buttons were kind of iffy at certain points, and the D-pad wasn't the best. So overall, it's a good little handheld to take with you. You can play 300 games, so that's totally worth it in my book. I'll post in the description below the website for it. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below and I'll respond to them. Okay, so that's my review of the BittBoy. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.